Hey fam, it is Motivation Monday. I got a question for you. What is stopping you from living your best life? Well, Miss Shameka Walker, I will say, is one of my most inspirational guests. She is here today to share her story. She has lost over 240 pounds naturally, fam, with just diet and exercise. Can we say the word of the day is discipline? How does she do it? Let's talk to her. Let's go. Reflection choosing me guilt free, honey, is we're back, baby. We're back. Back with new guests, new year, new fresh anointing, just new perspectives. And you know what? We're still talking. Your girl is still giving you the good information. You know who I am out in these internet streets. It's your girl, Michelle Franklin, Miss Michelle D.I. Why? Because there are no coincidences, baby. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Miss Community Builder, why? Because you know I'm always giving you the good information, the things that you need to know. And who do you need to know in 2024? Miss Shameka of the 421 movement. It's who you need to know in 2024, honey. This is who we are talking to today. She has an amazing story. And I am so excited that she is my first guest of 2024. And we're bringing you this awesome story. Miss Shameka, how you doing today?
I'm good. Still trying to get used to this weather here in Texas. At first, it was 60 degrees, and then it dropped down to like 4. So I'm still trying to adjust, but I am alive and well and glad to be here with you today.
You know what? Those that know me know I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. And in Texas, in the winter, it's normally not cold. It's normally like 60, and even 60 here is like 80 and be more, you know what I mean? And so it always irritates my spirit when it's cold. I'm like, it's not supposed to be this cold in Texas.
Yeah, I expected it to be warm. I had asked people before I moved here to Dallas, like, oh, okay, is the weather nice? Like, yeah, it's nice year round. And then we get hit with the winter front. So. But it's okay. I'm from Ohio, so I can navigate through it and go from there.
Listen, all you can say about that is thank you, global warming.
Muscle breathing, we're good to go. So.
Yes. So Shameka, tell us about you. Who are you? Girl, who are you? Who's this girl? Who are you, girl? Who are you out in these internet streets? Who are you, girl?
Well, I'm formerly known as Shameka from Youngstown, Ohio, born and raised. But also people know me as the creator and founder of the 421 movement, as you can see. Put the logo in the background. And pretty much what I embody is the ability to get a chance to talk to people about, my weight loss journey and inspire people to take advantage of getting themselves healthy and get active within their own lives and kind of just go on from there. But who is Shameka? Shameka is a fun, loving person that wants to uplift people to pretty much just take initiative into their health and live their best lives. So that's who Shameka is in a nutshell. I hope you guys get to know me a little bit more throughout the interview.
Yes. You know what? I always say I call us the helper bees of the world. There's some people that go through things and, they just go through it. And then there's others that go through things and we're like, I gotta help somebody. I gotta go back and grab somebody else. I call it getting your Harriet Tubman on. I'm free now. I got to go back and help some other people get free. And so that's what I call the helper bees. I call us the helper bees of the world. And how did you come up with this? Like, what happened with your journey? Like, how did it start?
Ooh, let's see if I can sum it up in a nutshell. So the 421 movement actually came from my highest weight, which was 421 pounds. I had made a decision to make pretty much a change in my life after having a lot of health concerns back in 2018. I would say that I had a lot of health issues as far as having high blood pressure. I was on medication. I was unable to move, couldn't get around, couldn't enjoy certain physical activities with my friends. I just couldn't do things that a regular person at 23 years old at the time should have been able to do. And my weight had really hindered me from living the best life that I could at that time. So when I had embarked on my journey, about 2 years down the line, I said, I want to create a movement or a space where I can uplift people to pretty much just, again, take initiative into their own health. And so I said, well, what can I call this movement? What can I call this brand? And I had said, you know what? I want to name it after myself, or after my highest weight, which was 421 pounds. That's how the 421 movement came about.
Wow, Shameka. Listen, there are some people out there. I mean, we're at the beginning of the year. And so, everybody's goal and everybody's, New Year's resolution at the beginning of the year is to lose weight.
Yeah.
And all of that. And so what I want to do though, is I want to take a minute and go back a little bit. Can you even tell us what was happening with you that you feel like that you got up to 421 pounds? So somebody is out there struggling. I know for me, people that watch me, they know I have said I am a food addict. I didn't realize that I was, using food is my comfort.
Right.
Food is my man. Food is my,
yeah.
when I need something to wrap me up, I got food.
Right.
And man, at the time, I had the food to bring me comfort.
Right.
And so, but what was happening at that point where you feel like you even got up to that weight, 421 pounds?
Where do I start? Well, I would say I would start within childhood. So obesity, it runs through my family, especially on the mother's side. It was more prevalent on her side of the family. We just had poor eating habits. I can remember as young as, I want to say 6 or 7, when my mom would have like little snacks in the room, and she would hide them on the side of her bed. And what I would do is I would go in there and sneak when she wasn't looking. And I wouldn't just take 1 or 2 snacks. I would take as much as I could without her noticing. I would say food addiction, again, started in childhood as early as far as coping, using food, probably I would say about 10 years old. And I shared the story with a couple of my friends a little while ago. There was I'll say this, my friends and I, not my friends, my mother and my brother and I had went to a corner store. In Ohio, we have these things called drive-throughs, where you can just go drive through the corner store, get your little snacks, Debbie cakes, and things like that. And you just don't have to get your car, just pay them, and then you can pull off. Kind of like a McDonald's, right? And again, I had to be about 10 or 11. And we had pulled on the drive-thru after we had got our Debbie cakes. I'll never forget it. I had got a Swiss roll. That was my favorite. My brother had got oatmeal cream pie. My mom had got a zebra cake. And we pulled to a stop sign in the front of us. And about maybe less than 3 to 4 feet in front of that stop sign in front of her vehicle, a guy pulled out a gun. And he started shooting at a car that was to the right of the stop sign in front of us. Oh, yeah. And we saw the car swerve into a pole. And I don't know if the person had, met a fatality when they hit the pole, but we just know what we saw. And we were all just in shock, and we were quiet. And so my mother, she turned around and looked at us like this. And we looked at my mom, and she just hit a left turn, and we sat down, we ate in silence. And that is the first memory that I can, recall where I utilized food as a coping mechanism. Wow. At that time, you didn't really understand, but in that time, a normal reaction, you would say would be to scream and cry, especially as kids. Yes. But in that moment, we just sat there and we ate, and we had, went to church, acting like nothing happened. We had never talked about that day since. But it didn't just start there. Like I said, it started way younger. But when my mother used to take us to different restaurants and we used to eat, and eating was just kind of like that comfort mechanism that we did as a family, as a unit. I felt like eating was the only time we even got along. It is when we were eating something or making something, on the stove and, things like that. And so my weight has slowly progressed over the years. My biggest weight gain, I would have to say, was going into freshman year. Biggest weight gain was going into freshman year was the summer of freshman year. I'm sorry. And that was the year where my mother wanted me to get out to socialize more with other kids. So she would take me to like this summer program where they had like other kids that were from different neighborhoods come, and she would just leave us there all day. Well, I didn't have many friends growing up, and I didn't make maybe friends growing up, people didn't like me because of my weight. And again, food was my comfort. So when other kids were out playing, I would be over in the little pavilion area eating food, and I would get home and then I would, want to try different recipes like frying chicken and, things like that. And the weight just stacked on. So freshman year, I was probably at a size, I don't want to lie to you, but I would say a size about 22, 24. And that was when my weight had just kept going up from there. So by the time I had reached college, again, the weight packed on. But at this time, it was a drive. And what do you do when you drive? You go everywhere you want to do. You go everywhere you want to go. And like, going to get different food. Our campus wasn't that big. I went to Youngstown State University. We had a lot of food inside of the campus. We had McDonald's and Taco Bell and things like that. And the weight just continued on even while I was in college. And then once I had reached my breaking point in 2018, where I started to have a lot of health issues, I couldn't travel. I couldn't do any, activities. That's when I had realized I am too heavy. And at that point, I would say January 2018 is when I had reached my peak of my weight, which had to be between, I want to say 450 was my highest. And I'll talk about how I discovered that in an upcoming interview with Sean. But once I had discovered my weight was around that, right, I said I need to do something. And that's when I started my journey.
What you said about the beginning and the accident in that day. And what I know for sure about the African American community is we do not communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So you have something so traumatic
Yep.
that happened right in front of you,
mm-hmm.
and there's nothing.
Yep.
And, and what happens too is the subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. So how are you processing that as a child? And the subconscious mind is, oh, things happen. I'm not supposed to say anything. Mama didn't say nothing. Mm-hmm. Right. And this is not, again, because we don't point fingers or anything, but this is just stating facts. Right.
Yeah, what's happening?
Mama didn't say anything. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not supposed to say anything.
Yep.
Right? When traumatic things happen to me, if something happens to me, then I'm supposed to stay quiet and eat. Mm-hmm. And how subconsciously that affected you the rest of your life.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that especially those of us that grew up in those type of communities, it's maybe not even just food. We could show up in other ways.
Oh, sure.
Smoking marijuana. I know a lot of folks back at home to cope with a lot of the issues that happen in the city. They smoke.
Definitely. Drink.
Take it out.
Yeah.
So they argue, they fight, things like that, because there's no healthier outlet, so. Right. Yeah, so.
I speak about a lot of young girls will go out and they start sexing, young men go out and do the same thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of boys will go out and they start, selling drugs, or they start doing drugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so all of that is definitely, unhealthy coping mechanisms, but it is, mm-hmm. what was going on. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like it really did depend on what community that you were in.
Yep.
I have a friend, I was just having this conversation the other day, and he asked me about, how did I end up in church? I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. And so at 16, though, I moved down here. My mom is there, my dad is here.
Right.
And so at 16, I moved here. And I always say it was a blessing for me, because had my cousins been in the street, mm-hmm. drinking, smoking, mm-hmm. hanging out, partying, guess where I would have been? Mm-hmm. In the streets, hanging out, partying. I was just blessed that my cousins were in church, in the choir, mm-hmm. singing. And so that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we are, kind of a product of our environment and what people are doing and what the people that we love the most, influence us to do. And how amazing is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because I watched a motivational speaker the other day. I forgot his name. And he was talking about how him and his wife, they pretty much live a healthy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's some Oreo cookies. So she had bought the pack, and I believe she only took like one or two out, and she had it in her cabinet. And so he said he kept walking past the cabinet, he knows he's not going to eat the cookies. At least he feels like he has the discipline not to eat the cookies.
Sure.
Over time, he kept going back into the cabinet and one by one. And he said, that goes to show you, no matter how your mindset is, or no matter how much discipline you have, your environment is what's going to take precedence over everything else. So
it makes a tremendous difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to make that connection, that environment.
It makes a tremendous difference. I have a girlfriend like that. She says, Kiana, she's a physical trainer with Wanna Go Fit, one of my favorite physical trainers in this world. Plug.com. She says that she don't even keep it in her house for that reason. She said, I know what Oreos and cookies. She said, I know what sugar does to me. She said, I don't even buy it. So I don't keep it in my house. So I mean, it is funny because you do feel like you're gonna have that discipline, and it just and this is the thing that I know for sure about food and about food addiction. That whole thing is, I would have periods and points of time where I would be very, very strong, and I could have cookies in the cabinet for months.
Yeah.
And I touched them, but let that one day happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That one stressful day, or that one, urge, or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, no cookies was in here. Let me go find me some milk. My thing was cookies and milk.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, Oreos are just milk. Brand on funky time. So,
right. So very, very, very easy to do. And then, moving on, I want to talk about the communication, and what you said was so significant was, you said the times that you felt closer were the times that you were in the kitchen, cooking. And so would you not want more of that? Would you not do that more often? Because that's when the connection is. So you think about even things of toxicity, right? We want them not because they're so good for us, or we don't process it that this is not really good for us. It's like, oh, I want this. This is making me feel good at this time. This feels good. Oh, the last time me and Mama was laughing in the kitchen, and normally Mama's fussing, so let's just cook.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that was I would say this. It's not just, in my household, what I've noticed that food is kind of like a sense of community, especially around holidays. And, when you're hanging out with friends, everybody goes out to eat at some point. But when it gets to the point where that's the only time that everybody seems to get along is when we're cooking something and we're having function. Food, it's kind of dysfunctional to an extent. So,
yeah. That is one of the things that I'm teaching about this year, 2024, is identifying components of dysfunctional family. And so, and just like you said, you hit it right on the nose. Like, you don't even realize that. Why is it that the only time we can get along or we can be civil is at a family function? And I don't know about your family functions, but at mine, we're praying like, oh Lord, so and so say nothing to so and so, and then you get the day like, whoo, we made it.
Absolutely. Made it through over here.
My dad was one of those that what goes on in my house stays on in my house. So it's kind of like, that's how you grew up. Like, you better not say nothing about anything that's going on. But at the same time, it is, if we don't identify these things that are happening and these things affecting us as community, it is the answer to, why don't we get together like we used to get together?
Yeah.
Why everybody moved away and nobody comes home? You know what I mean? And it's because we don't have these uncomfortable, I call it the uncomfortable, what's in the pit of your belly conversations.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the uncomfortable, but it is the necessary conversations that we have to have in order to bring the family back together.
Right.
And so, it's a blessing, and I thank you for coming on and, even being as transparent as you are and have been, y'all. We have a part 2 coming up. So I'm excited for that, but we'll go a little bit deeper. But, it is that thing, because if we don't talk about it, if we don't communicate about these things that are happening, that have happened, that, the spilled milk, how are we going to clean it up?
Yeah. How can you heal from that? You can't heal if you don't talk about it. The funny thing is, I had a conversation with my dad about about 3 weeks ago. And I said, Dad, you did some things when we were kids that it was terrible. You were kind of terrible growing up. And he got very defensive. He was like, well, I did what I could, and and I don't remember that, kind of just saying, I don't really want to take accountability for what you're saying right now.
Sure.
But the one thing that he did do was he listened. Whether he agreed with her or not, he listened. And I think that's one of the things that we need to do with each other, especially with our families, is just listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes the healing comes from just being able to get it out. Yeah, pulling all of that in. So
yes, definitely. One of the things that I teach about is we wonder why our community, the African American community, is so number one for heart disease, number one for, strokes, for these things. And it is because we're carrying all of this inside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And as you're storing all of that anger, all of that dysfunction, all the childhood trauma, guess what else you're carrying? You're carrying cancer. It's circulating, just waiting for the opportunity. People are like, I've been small and I've been this all my life and I've been this. I have all these conversations because I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 23 years. And so I hear I was never, but it's been waiting. It's been there, circulating,
Absolutely.
And so, and it is, the stress of it all too, carrying all that around. Is how it comes up and how it shows up in our bodies. Why you're having massive headaches, why you having, reflux, why do you have all these stomach issues?
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Conversations.
I was having a good conversation with some folks down in Atlanta. We have a group where we kind of have just different types of conversations. I said, my goal is to talk about obesity and, provide obesity awareness, but also make sure that I educate our people specifically about, unhealthy eating habits and how to take what we have and try to make healthier alternatives. And one of the individuals that said, well, obesity doesn't just run within the Black community. It's, it's a problem nationwide. And she was 100% right. Right. It is nationwide.
Surely.
However, what I've noticed from my research is that heart disease, coronary heart issues, high blood pressure, other obesity-related cancers are coming from mainly us as African Americans.
Exactly.
And I believe, again, this is just me personally, I believe it's from our diets.
Definitely.
Fried chicken, cornbread, soul food, pig feet, macaroni and cheese. We eat all of that on top of dealing with our daily stressors, which makes us predisposed to all of those health conditions. But whenever I get the chance to educate our people about those, I try to do so.
Well, definitely. I mean, I don't like to get into conspiracy theories or, any of that type of stuff, but the number one thing that Black people eat is chicken.
Yeah, I still got a whole bunch of chicken in the fridge. So.
And so, and when you think about what they've done to our chicken and kind of what the FDA approved, even, things that are available in the community, how in our communities there is a less, availability of grains and veggies and fruits. Because it's easier for me to feed my family a package of oodles and noodles, cheaper,
absolutely,
than to buy, some greens or some spinach or some, or some kale and things like that. And so, who's picking a bag of apples that's $3 over, and some snacks that's $1.29?
Right. I agree. And I say to that, to my folks that are, on a budget, I would always say, look at alternatives. Because like I said, from Youngstown. So one of the things that we had to our advantage in Youngstown is that we're workly funded by outside, entities, things of that nature. So we do have access to grocery stores and healthier food options. Is it as good as the suburbs? No. But we did have those options. It's just our people aren't going to pick them because they don't understand the importance of the proper nutrition.
Yeah.
And then also, a bag of vegetables or a bag of fresh fruit is going to go bad very quickly.
That part.
So that's, it's all in the conversation. But I would always say, to my people that, hey, if you are on a budget and you need to make something last throughout the week. There are ways that we can make, a 10-minute bag of rice with a box of rice, some frozen vegetables and chicken last, as opposed to the heavy oils, the heavy butters, the Debbie cakes and things like that. Add those into our diet. So I always say, if you want key tips and tricks, just let me know and I got you covered. So
I know. And the other part of it is, again, it's a shift of mindset because, and back in the day, my stepfather, he used to go to Pace, which today is Sam's, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so he always bought food in bulk and broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people think that going to Sam's or going to somewhere where you have to have a membership, they think it costs more.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the food lasts longer and it's cheaper.
Yeah, it is.
It's cheaper to get, the healthier foods, to get, even the fruits and veggies and all those come in for sizes. You can get more. And Sam's accepts food stamps.
That is right.
So before that, back in the day, they, it's very exclusive. They did not, but they do now. And so
I didn't know this. I don't have any kids or a family to prepare meals from, so I still go and get single people food. But I did have kids. I'm definitely going to Costco or to Sam's to get things at all.
Yeah, I don't know about Costco, but I got a Sam's card. But it would just be something to look into. And then I thank God for like your Aldi's. Aldi's has popped up kind of. I don't know about the California West Coast, but I know around the East Coast and towards the middle, Aldi's has popped up kind of all over, and that is another great place to get like fresh veggies and fresh fruits and things that are cheaper and quality meats even from the Aldi's. And so things like that, like it's just always good to do your research, because I was headed to we grow up just doing the same thing that our parents did, and like you were saying, eating the same foods that our parents did, but stretch out. My daughter is a chef. My oldest, I have a 28-year-old and I have a 14-year-old, right?
Okay.
I'm one of those people out. I'm very, before probably the past 5 years, 2019, I started kind of being open. But prior to that, I was very much closed on the foods that I would eat, the way that I would cook stuff, like any of it. I'm going to the store, I'm getting the exact same thing that I get all the time. I'm getting the that I grew up on. I wasn't even looking at menus. When we would go to different places. At the sandwich place here, Skalashki's, I always ordered the ham and cheese. I didn't know what else was on the menu, because that's what my dad ordered when we was little. That's what I ordered. I ordered the ham and cheese. I didn't know what else was on that Skalashki's menu. The Grandy's here. I would always go to Grandy's and get the double steak, because that's what my dad always got: double steak, mashed potatoes, and baked beans. So that's what we get: double steak, mashed potatoes. Don't know what else is on the Grandy's menu. But when I got intentional and I started being open and I started fasting, and I'm like, well, I don't even know what veggies or what even else is available. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so many other things. Like, look at your options, right? Look at what else is on the menu. Like, I was limiting myself living like this. And we don't even realize this is what we're doing, but you go through life just in your little, it's that one way comfort zone. Yeah, just with your blinders on, and you're missing out on all this good food.
I had made a spaghetti squash Alfredo when I had started the weight loss because I love pasta. But I was trying to find alternatives without giving up things that I enjoy, because I love food. I'm a food addict, so. When I saw something to, make it healthy, but I made a spaghetti squash Alfredo. And my dad, he looked at it, he was like, I'm not eating that. That don't look good. So I had my friends try it, and they fell in love with it. They were like, oh, like, can you make me some more? Yeah, some seasoned salt, pepper, garlic. Yeah. You can turn this vegetable into a gourmet meal. So let's open our horizons a little bit and go from there.
Yes. I love that. Like I said, I was very much closed. 2019, I had a stint in the hospital, and I was really, really scared. I thought I was going to die. And so I'm in the bathroom one Sunday morning, and I was praying, and I was like, Lord, if you get me out of this, get myself together. Because at that point, I was like 280 pounds, and I was just kind of being very complacent with life. And so fast forward, I got out of the hospital, and things turned around. I wrote a book about it. But things turned around, and but I said, Lord, whatever you have me do. And so going into the new year, my word for the year, since that year, God has given me a word every year. But my word for the year that year was be open. No matter what happens. Because I was very much, I looked it was be open. But let's get into you, Shameka. Tell us a little bit more about the about the 421 movement, and what all are you having people to do? How do they get in contact with you? How do they join up? Or is it a group? Is it a session? Are you doing one-on-one? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I have a lot of plans for this year, for 2024. Well, first I would say follow me on Instagram and or TikTok at the 421 Movement, THE 421 Movement, that you see here on the bottom of the screen. That is where I will be making announcements for upcoming challenges and events between the Dallas and Atlanta area. Hopefully we can kind of span it out as, the more popular we get and the more traction that we gain. But a lot of things that I'm going to be doing in the upcoming year, just kind of give you guys a general picture. I'm going to be doing some group fitness events and challenges. I'm going to be doing a lot of community engagement, getting out, talking to people about, obesity awareness, having workshops as well. So if you guys are interested, let me know. And I would love to host one, in a city near you, where I'll talk about, diet advice and nutrition advice and how I was able to get the weight off and maintain and also continue to lose over the last couple of years. I'll also do some motivational coaching sessions as well. There's a private via Zoom. So I have those open every couple of months for where we can talk and just, build a community and kind of just go from there. But then I have some other plans coming up in March of this year. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss that video. And me and Ms. Michelle will be doing an interview exclusively for that. And I hope you guys enjoy that as well. As far as the 421 movement, again, I'm just now starting off trying to build this brand, but the goal again is to I really embrace the belief that you can accomplish any goal that you set your mind to. That could be school, that could be weight loss, that could be, again, just achieving anything that you want to by, providing that encouragement that you need to empower yourself and in your own life. And then you could just continue to change your mindset and make those positive changes. So as we build that community together and we start this wave and this movement, I want to continue on to the year 2024, pretty much making it happen and kind of go on from there. So
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. I think that this is, it is so important. It's so important. It's so many people out there. I call it suffering in silence. You know what I mean? It's so many people out there. We're so ashamed to even talk about what we're going through, to even admit it. But the first step is acknowledgement. And then understanding that you have somebody out here, Miss Shameka, that's out here that has gone through what you're feeling and what you have gone through, and so just your transformation and, what it took in you to even not only start, but continue and get as far as you've gone and then come back and help others. I just want to give you your flowers because that is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
It is amazing. It is just, we just need more helper bees out here in the world. And that's why I'm like, oh my God, I need to talk to her.
Right here,
I need to talk to her. Some people need to know her story because, again, most people don't, process it. Like, let me go back and help some other people come through. So I just absolutely love that. Now, can you tell us who is your ideal client? Like, who would you want to, are you accepting, into your program, or who will be a good fit with you?
Oh, that is a good question. I would say anyone that wants to make a positive change in their life and is able to have accountability for their actions and their results, and that's willing to actually listen. Weight loss in itself, or any goal in itself, I'm going to speak more specifically to weight loss. You can find information about weight loss, different, diet routines, regimens, and things like that. But there's only one way to essentially lose weight, and that's going to be calorie restriction and holding ourselves accountable to what we put in our bodies and the work that we need to do to achieve, those results. So if you're willing to take accountability, you're willing to listen, and you're willing to just, put forth the effort, come on over, follow me on the page, and let's get it started.
So she's telling y'all, if y'all not ready, don't call her.
I'll give a quick example.
Wait till you get ready.
And I'll give a quick example, right? One of my closest friends, about 2-3 years before I started my journey, we were sitting in the car, and she said to me, Shameka, I love you, but I think it's time for you to, get your weight down. And I was like, oh, okay, or whatever. And I got home and I had cried for about a good hour or two because it was like, oh my God, everybody thinks I'm fat. Everybody thinks I'm disgusting. People hate me. I had this very self-loathing mindset at the time. But in the reality, she was right. 2 years prior to me actually starting my journey, I wasn't doing it. It was 1 or 2. I wasn't ready at that time to take initiative into my health. Yeah. But in 2018, where I had realized that, what, I need to do something, that's when the light bulb had clicked and I was ready to do whatever it took to get the weight down. So when that light bulb clicks, you give me a call. We can go from there.
I love it. I know it really does make a difference. You can love somebody and people can say things to you out of love and everything. But I will say, until you are ready, it really doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
And you have so much, like you said, all that negative self-talk. I call him the devil. He sits on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And all that negative, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Hear all that negative self-talk. And, you just have to pluck his ass off your shoulder.
Yeah. Get away from me. It's a song called Keep the Devil Off Me by Big Crit.
Yes.
So that's kind of it. Devil off, Hey. Yeah. When you're ready to receive exclamation, then you'll be ready to go. So
I love that. I love it. Oh, Shameka, we're gonna wrap up today, honey. Like we said, we got a part 2 coming up. Man, Shameka gonna be out in these streets, honey. We're gonna meet and we're gonna give y'all some more good information about the 421 movement, honey. But Shameka, in the meantime, tell them your Instagram again. Tell them how they can get in contact with you.
Again, it's going to be Instagram and TikTok at the 421 movement that you see here with the screen, THE 421 movement. Again, that's where I'm going to have a lot of the postings of events and some great content coming up pretty soon.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with the people that we haven't talked about yet?
I just want to say, don't be ashamed if you are ready to make a change. The first step into getting help with anything, whether it's obesity, trying to lose weight, or if you have an addiction to drugs or alcohol or whatever the case may be, is you taking that initiative into your own health and making that first step to make contact. Don't be afraid. I'm a pretty easygoing person. Again, I'm very transparent, as you can see, and I'll be more than happy to kind of give you, guidance and go from there.
I love it. Well, guys, it is the beginning of the year, honey, and we're not making New Year's resolution. We are making lifestyle changes. And so again, honey, if you're ready to change your life, and I call it, living instead of existing, you might want to join Miss Shameka in the 421 movement, honey. Give yourself that chance and that opportunity. I always say, Shameka, again, there are no coincidences in this world, only God's divine intervention. So, my dear sweet friends, if you are seeing this, it is not a coincidence. And so again, head on over, hit her up on Facebook, head up on Instagram. She ain't gonna bite you. Yeah, it'll help you in these streets, get you to shift your mindset, honey, and get you into a better place. And so if that's where you are, hit up 421 Movement. Shameka, thank you.
Thank you.
You again for coming on today. Thank you. Such a beautiful spirit. I can't wait for the next interview. You guys stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on that and dates and everything. And I'm excited, honey. Y'all know how your girl do it. It's your girl. This how we doing 2024, honey. You know how I do. I give you the good information. Miss Community Builder, that's what you need in these streets, baby. We ain't playing. Your girl is doing what she do, honey. As Mr. Les Brown says, I aspire to inspire until I expire, honey. That's what I'm doing. What you doing? Stop out there judging and get yourself over there. Call Shameka, get yourself together. Get your life. All right, family. Yeah, have a good one.